Hi, dear students. Welcome to the virtual learning. Today, we are going to see about changing population size. Now, when we come to the word size, it can be of different types. Population is dynamic. The numbers, distribution, and composition of the population are always changing. Now, population, that is a growing people, is always dynamic. It is changing because either in the number or in the distribution or in the composition there will be always changes. This is because of the interaction of the three processes. These changes happen because of three interactions. Three process interaction of three processes. They are births, deaths, and migration. Now, simply to say, the population is dynamic, I say, and it is because of the interaction of the three processes, that is births, deaths, and migration. There is always change. Now, there are, when we say in the notion of people's growth or expand in number, then there are two types. They are as absolute numbers and as percentage change. The absolute numbers added each decade is the magnitude of increase. It is obtained by simple subtracting the earlier population from the later population. If the result is positive, then there is an increase in the absolute number. Population change in a place. This happens because of number of births plus number of in-migrants minus number of deaths plus number of out-migrants. If the positive number means then the population has increased by the number. If there is a negative number, it shows that they decreased by that number. Assume for a moment there is no migration. In order to calculate this increase, we examine two rates, birth rate and secondly death rate. So, the rate or the pace of the population increase is important. It is studied in percent per annum. Example, a rate of increase of 2% per annum means that in a given year there was an increase of 2% for every 100 persons in the base year. This is calculated by year like in compound interest. So, dear students, here we just listen that if there are no migrants or there are no in-migrants and out-migrants, then we take in the two types of rates. One is birth rate, the other one is death rate. The persons are the newborn people, and then the people who are dead, who are departed. Because since there are no migrants, we take this rate, and if the birth rate is high than the death rate, then there is actually an increase in the number of population. But if the population of birth rate is lower than the death rate, then it's simple and easy to say that though there is a growth in population, still it was reduced by the death rate. Certain times, death rate can be high, just like that happened in this generation or in our times, like coronavirus. Because of this pandemic, the death rate was very high. Within no time, lakhs of people have victimed to this pandemic. So now the, the death rate has gone very high. So can we say that there is no birth rate? No, there is a common birth rate. But then, in this exceptional scenario, the death rate was very high. So, even the population of that places where the death rate was very high will be reduced to another number. And here we can say that though there is birth rate, but still, because of the high death rate, there is a negative number. So the growth was in negative and there is a decrease in the population change. Now we see another aspect, that is fertility rate, the total births for a woman. What is that? Here we understand that the births of a woman once were different from that of now. The earlier in a family there can be, there used to be, and there were up to 15 children. 5 can be girls and 10 can be boys. And after that, the scale fell down to 10 members. And then there came a time for 9, 5, 4. But that big scale families or large families now came down to be micro or nano families, because in this nano family there is only father, mother and a child. At least in the micro family there is a possibility of having 2 children at least. If you check that graph, it simply shows how it used to be. In 1961, the fertility rate in India was 5.9, and in 2011 it came down to 2.7, and in 2020 it can be changed to somewhere 2.1 or 1.9 or 1.5. There's a possibility. Check. In Andhra Pradesh, in the beginning it was different. But now that came down to 1.9. If this decline continues, then there will be very fewer children in the country. We know that India is the country which has the highest youth. But it is going to be different from now on, because parents do not go for higher children or more children, so they are adjusting themselves with 1 or 2 children. And not only that is the reason, sometimes even because of having work stress or having insomnia, the women are unable to consume, or the male are unable to have the capacity to give a child to a woman. So this is how the present generation is going to be and is suffering. The reason why the nano family or micro family is continuing in this generation is security and the social norms. Yes, if there are five children, the land that is owned by the parents has to go for the five equally. But if it is only one or two, then that is also same equally is distributed. But if we compare from the family 1 to family 2, the share that goes to 5 is different from the share that goes to 2 or 1, because here an acre is divided into 20 cents each, but in two persons it is 50 cents each, and in another case, that is one child, that acre is not at all divided into pieces. So that is how the parents think of, and they decide whether to have children more or less. Because of having uh, either high children, I mean a high birth rate, or more people, or because of more migration to a place, that place density also can be changing. We often see people population growth. Actually, this population growth can be of two types, either negative or positive. If it is positive, in that means people are educated, they are literated, then there is a quality of life. But if it is in a negative tone, that is alarmed tone, then it means people are being accumulated more on this in a place, and there is very less resources for many people, and they are illiterate at the same time. At the same time, there is a reduced quality in the life they live. So there is another aspect that we have to look at, that is density. Less land, more people. That is what we said in the case of a family having five children and a family having one or two children. Less land, more people. Less people, more land. So, because of the less land that they have, people have to share it among everybody equally. The rich can take the more because the poor do not have much to eat, so they need money for their survival. So they sell off what they have and they try to live on by selling and getting the money that they have received from the rich.